Welcome into another episode of Homegrown. In this week's episode, I'm joined by 3 current varsity baseball players here at Jackson. With that being said, I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
I'm Shea White, 12th grade, and I'm going to Ohio Dominican University.
My name is Jaxon Clark. I'm a senior pitcher going to Adrian College.
My name is Garrett Wright. I'm a junior catcher going to Bowling Green.
Now, guys, first off, thanks for hopping in here and joining us today. We really want to talk about the recruiting process that all 3 of you guys have went through, all playing summer ball. I know Garrett and Shea, you guys played in the Warhawks together, but Jackson, you did not play summer ball with them. Just talk about the recruiting process and what it was like going through that, and then also, kind of talk about last year on the varsity program and what you guys expect moving forward. So, Shea, we'll start with you. Played on the Warhawks. You're a third baseman. Had a phenomenal summer offensively. What was the recruiting process like for you, and when did it really start for you?
Basically, it started in the off-season towards the winter time. Very slow process. Honestly, there's colleges coming in and out. You didn't know what was going on. And then my coach got me involved with Ohio Dominican. Didn't know much about it. Got involved with the program by going to one of their games, watching them how they play and run things as a coach and team. And basically, they just inspired me to go there, and even academically, they have what I want, and it's around everything that I need, in Columbus, and you have Easton, Ohio State, you have everything around you, friends and everything, and the program is amazing. It's baseball and academically.
Right, and it being in Columbus, not too far from home, I know your parents love watching you play, see them out here at all the home games, so I'm sure it's going to be a nice, not too far of a drive for them to come down, but one thing you said there that sticks out, they have what you wanted to study. Right. What do you want to study, and then how much easier was it to know in the recruiting process what you want to do school-wise, and then also narrowing down when colleges came to you, if they had that specific program or not?
Basically, I want to go into entrepreneurship and minor in finance and accounting. I wanted to go into that because I've been around that type of stuff. I've done shoe selling. I've done a lot of business type. I've already gotten into investments, mutual funds, and all of that. So I've already gotten to the gist of things. I'm taking a junior achievement class and doing all types of business stuff. And I looked into their program, and that's what they had. So I knew that would work if I went there and played baseball. It was basically a double thing to do. And at first I wanted to go engineering, but I realized in the future that wouldn't work out if I wanted to do 2 things. Right. And so I realized my career path wasn't that, especially since I lost interest in it, and I knew business was the way to go.
Right, and that's being one that's played through the program and played at the next level. It's a lot easier, knowing what you want to do during the recruiting process. So you're really fortunate to know that. Jackson, moving over to you now. Adrian College. Where did you play summer ball at?
The Ohio Longhorns.
Okay, so you play with the Ohio Longhorns. Let's talk about the recruiting process for you. You're a pitcher. Pretty sure that's what you're going there to do. Yeah. What was it like? When did it start for you, and did you enjoy it?
So my recruiting process started in June when summer ball started. It was starting off really slow, but once because I started off kind of bad, but once I got in the swing of things and started pitching well, I had some scouts that came out and watched some games, and I began to reach out through some emails. So one of the big things for me was academics at school. So I look at the school's academics and then shoot them an email to their head coach, see if they want to come watch me pitch a game, see if they'd come. So academics were definitely a huge part. And the one thing that was really interesting is Adrian never actually saw me pitch a game. They never came out at all. I just was really intrigued because they're a huge business school and I want to be a finance major. So they had that. It was all pretty much set. And I emailed their coach. I was like, hey, coach, I'd love to come down for a visit. And he agreed to it. So I went down there, had a little visit with the coach, and I really liked the campus, and I committed there 3 days later.
Wow. So what do you want to go? Like you said, business, anything, or finance, anything in particular? Because that can mean a lot of different avenues.
Yeah, so I want to be a personal investor. So kind of like Shea said, I'm really into stocks. I'm invested in mutual funds and stocks and stuff like that. So I really want to be a personal investor for people and help them manage their wealth. That's what I'd like to do. And then maybe a minor in sports management.
Awesome. All right, we'll get the last one now, and that's Garrett. You want to pass that mic over to him. Garrett, we know where you played summer ball. You played the Warhawks, but a little different for you. You're the newest committed out of the 3 up here. You just recently committed in the past week to Bowling Green. versatile. We've seen at the varsity level. You've played, third. You've caught. You can pretty much an outfield as well. You can play all over, but you've made the decision to catch going forward. Before we ask you about the recruiting process, was it a little different for you? Was it easier for you having Trey, who's also come through the program, already be in college playing baseball? Was it easier for you to know how to maneuver the recruiting process, or did Trey really, kind of step aside and it was all you?
Well, I really wasn't involved in like any of his recruiting process, so I had zero clue going into it, like what it was like, how long it would take. I mean, I think he got his Toledo offer his junior year, like junior summer, and decided to go there in the fall.
Gotcha. And so then that's all we'll talk about, Trey. I know we want to make this about you too. So let's talk about the recruiting process for you then. Why Bowling Green?
It's Division I. That's a big plus. But academically, they have criminal justice, like a brand new facility for it and all that. That was like my number one reason to go there.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's close to home. Kind of wanted to go farther away from my parents.
It's a good distance, but not too far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you also knew what you wanted to get into, and these guys are both seniors. You're a junior. You're very fortunate, even at this age, to know what you want to get into moving forward. So, did you do what these guys did and look ahead to these schools that were recruiting you to see if they had what you wanted to get into, or did you let the schools come to you first and then take your visits before you kind of focused on the criminal justice side of things?
I let them come to me. Like, it was March, I think. I had my first call with Bowling Green, and I think we talked for 20 minutes about the criminal justice program.
Okay. Well, we have you here for another 2 seasons, so excited to see once you get up there. And if I'm not mistaken, that means that you and your brother will be rivals if he's still there. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm sure there'll be a nice little section of purple and gold in the stands for that one as well. But guys, first off, congrats. I mean, getting to play baseball at the next level isn't something everyone's able to do. It's never promised. So a big congratulations to all you three on that. But let's go back to the 2021 spring season, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about what it was like for you guys. The 2020 season missed. You didn't get to really see what it was like on the field for, guys in front of you. Maybe you weren't thrown into the fire is what we'll say. You get to, be in the bench behind the scenes, see what it's like playing under Coach Gamble. But talk about what it was like, and then, moving forward, what you guys expect for yourselves in 2022.
Basically, I mean, it was just a new experience. We obviously, like you said, we missed the year before because of COVID. We didn't know what we were going into as like a new team that Gamble has to coach under. He has to see new players and all that. Basically, it was just new for everybody. I mean, we've never really played with each other, especially like I've never played with Jackson before, never played with Garrett before. Like you had to get to know new people,
right,
which honestly the team chemistry wasn't there in the beginning, but now we're working on it and trying to get better, especially for this season. And although we didn't have the best season last year, I promise that we're going to probably do 10 times better this year.
Right. Jackson, what did you think out of last year? And you're one, me being able to be there and watch you guys, first home game, I saw both of you in lineup, but you're one guy that maybe not at the start of the season got a lot of opportunity, but as the season went on, you were heavily relied upon out of the bullpen or as a spot starter on the weekends. I mean, talk about that for a second for you. Was it difficult not knowing your role right away, and then, just reflect on the 2021 spring season?
Not really. I mean, I pretty much just trusted, what Gamble and D-Rod were doing with the pitching staff. So it wasn't really that big of a deal. I did struggle in the preseason, but once I bought into the process and I realized what I could do and I realized what I was good at, that's when I really started to figure out what I could do. And like Shea said, I mean, the locker room's a huge part of, winning games. There's a whole new system, and you'll hear Coach Campbell talk about this all the time. The games are won in the locker room, and we did not win the locker room last year. So one of our huge focuses this year is winning that locker room and building relationships with all the guys around us, I'd say.
Right, and we'll go to Garrett now. I mean, Garrett, piggybacking off what these two guys have said, do you agree with that? Coming off the 2021 season, you guys realized what is going to need to take place because you guys didn't have the season maybe you guys wanted to, and it was a tough spot for everybody. There was a lot of unknowns, not just for this program, but everybody in the Federal League and in Stark County and Ohio as a whole. What was your result, or what did you think after the 2021 season? And then do you agree with these guys, building your relationship and chemistry has been a huge focal point in the offseason so far?
Yeah, so we actually planned on doing winning Wednesdays. And today was the first day of that, where we had a senior versus underclassmen scrimmage. Of course, the underclassmen won, but yeah. So in the locker room, there was some issues. We don't have to go into details.
Right? No,
with that.
we're not.
I mean,
Yeah.
It kind of tore our team apart. Didn't play for the team.
Mm-hmm.
We started off really rough. Preseason, pretty rough. I mean, I kind of knew what was going to happen with Coach Gamble and all the rest of the coaches, because I watched Trey for those 4 years, so I understood what every game day was like. I didn't understand what every off day, in the locker room, all the pre-work was like.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good season. It just didn't end how we wanted.
Right, and there's a lot of factors into that. And how I look at it is you guys had, 2 ways to pick what happens next. And we'll start back there with you and then work our way back down to Shea. But you mentioned, or you and Jackson mentioned winning Wednesdays. What do you guys, how serious are you guys taking this offseason work right now? Because I know that all three, you just said it wasn't how you wanted the season to end last year. You didn't hit your certain goals that I know, coming through this program under Coach Gamble, you have numerous goals you want to check off moving forward. So, I mean, are you guys, as not just you three, but as a class, pretty excited and committed to, getting back to where you guys want this team and program?
Yeah, so pretty much everybody that's if they're not sick, we're always in here. Mm-hmm. We're always putting in work. We're always at the liftings. Even the sophomores who are just coming into JV, they're there every day working just as hard as us.
Same thing that Garrett said, really building the chemistry and camaraderie in the offseason right now so that when you get back on the field come springtime and you play those intense Tuesday, Wednesday Federal League games, that you guys know what to expect. You can trust one another in those tough spots and trust the coaches and what they are asking you to do, whether it's give up in a bat, come off the bench and get a pinch hit, defensive replacement, get on the mound and strike a guy out, or have a hitter roll over to, second base. I mean, is that pretty much your big goal right now?
Yeah, so piggybacking off of what Garrett said earlier, it's you either buy into the system or you get out. It's what Coach Gamble says all the time. So I truly believe that, it's okay to give up innings, okay to give up at-bats for the greater good of the team, in all honesty. So if we can win the game and Coach Gamble sees a better matchup, then do it.
Right. And Shea, come back to you now before we move forward. You are somebody that's taking the offseason really seriously, just because I've seen you, not besides here, you're out working constantly, getting stronger in the weight room on your own. But losing the 2020 season was big. Like we said, you guys didn't get to see it happen in front of you. And for a lot of people, they don't always agree that's how it needs to be. But for you guys coming into the program that has high expectations, I don't know if you guys felt any pressure of knowing what you were coming into, but how do you think it was a big blessing in disguise knowing you had to go through that last year, and you think it's going to prove to help you guys in this upcoming spring season?
Yeah, of course. Basically, like how you said, trust with coaches, teammates, knowing that they can go in there and win the game for each other and not for themselves. I learned that the hard way last year. Obviously, a lot of people, even myself, we went in trying to do it for ourselves and not for the team. Basically, everybody's putting all the hard work in and doing everything that they need to do for this upcoming season because they know that it's important. We have a lot of seniors still this year that want to prove themselves to even be a starter this year, which will be very important, especially in the off season and come spring season.
Right. Guys, before we leave, I want to ask you all one thing. I know we're going to have some, travel kids, youth kids watching this, and I know you guys have played your way up, to the spot you're in now. So, Shea, starting with you, is there anything you have to say to the younger kids that are watching this, baseball related, school related, or even, dealing with failure? Because baseball, guys, is a game of failure, as all of us know. You do your job 30% of the time in Major League Baseball, you're going to the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, in previous episodes, we've talked with Coach Gamble about accepting failure, dealing with failure. Is there anything you have to say to any of the younger kids out there watching right now that hopefully want to be on that field under the lights in a few years?
Yeah, definitely stay disciplined. Try to keep your mindset the way you need it to be, even failure if you do. just keep a steady mind and forget about it and worry about the next pitch, AB, shot, or anything that you have so that you can prove yourself on the next attempt.
Right. Jackson, to you, anything you'd like to say to anybody in the youth program or, working their way to the varsity program right now?
Yeah, I would say keep focusing on your grades because grades are a major factor in the recruiting process, and they're definitely going to go for a person that has higher grades than another person. And then I would also say that it's important to keep control of your emotions because coaches watch how you act when you're in the dugout and when you're also on the field. So it's important to control those.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Garrett, finally you, anything you have out you want to say to anybody else watching?
Probably the biggest thing is to just trust the process. You put in the work every day, like in school, weight room, practice, something's going to come out of it. It doesn't, you don't have to force it. It'll just happen.
Spot on. Couldn't agree more. Well, Shea, Jackson, Garrett, I want to thank you guys for hopping on this episode of Homegrown. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope you enjoyed it at home watching this. This has been another episode of Homegrown. Stay on the lookout for another episode dropping on the Jackson Baseball YouTube page or Jackson Twitter account. Until next time, we'll see you when we see you.